Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about a quick little story time about a restaurant that I went and helped to clear. So back in October of 2018, I actually got invited to be on this podcast with these two guys that live in my town, and they were looking for more of like a creepy sort of idea for their podcast because Halloween was coming up. So we ended up going to a restaurant in my town that is known to be haunted. We did like a Dead Files style walkthrough at midnight with GoPros in the dark. It was crazy. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done. I definitely was very nervous, but I will link the podcast down below if you want to listen to it. And it was one of the craziest experiences I've ever had, pretty much ever, throughout clearing houses or locations or anything. I was on this podcast and went through, did the walkthrough, picked up on various different spirits. I actually went back and helped clear out a large group of spirits that was there, and that was a whole other story in itself. So if you want to maybe hear that story, let me know down below. It was very emotional for me actually, and it was incredible. At the same time, it was one of the hardest things that I have had to do to date. Yeah, so I don't know. If you guys want to hear about it, just let me know. Maybe I'll do a video on it soon. One of the spirits in this location was a little girl that had died in kind of a mysterious way. We hadn't quite figured it out on the podcast. She did not want to talk to me when I encountered her in the restaurant during the walkthrough. So usually when I encounter spirits after, you know, doing this for a little while, they come up to me, they're very excited, they're very happy to have somebody that can hear them, that can help them, that can do all of this stuff for them. Encountering first of all, child spirit, which just isn't natural. It's not the natural order of things to encounter a deceased child. It's just extra sad for me and really hard for me to deal with. The other thing is, she didn't want to talk to me, which was kind of another red flag and made it just that much harder, because you know that there's some sort of extra trauma that they've gone through if they don't really want to talk. Cora was definitely going to be a hard case, and I knew that. So after clearing out the bigger group of spirits from this restaurant, I took a break for a couple of weeks, couple of months really, and started to kind of avoid the idea of going back to the restaurant because I was a little bit nervous and I didn't know if I was going to be able to get her out of there. So I get a text message a couple of months after I cleared out the big group of spirits. It was from one of the owner's wives, and she and I have become pretty close since then. She is actually very psychic. She has these like mediumistic tendencies about her. She's great. So she texted me and she was like, hey, just wanted to see if you could come and help me clear Cora out of here because I have to move my office to a new space in the restaurant, and it's across the hallway from the bathrooms where Cora liked to hang out. Cora was notorious for flushing toilets or kind of popping up in the kitchen late at night, especially with Tammy. She had kind of become attached to Tammy, not in a like possession sort of way or anything, but just in like an emotional way. She had this attachment to her. She really enjoyed her company. So whenever Tammy was around, there was extra activity with her in particular, which caused Tammy to be very scared whenever she was at the restaurant late at night alone. When she was working in her office, she felt like she had eyes staring at her all the time because she was literally across the hall from Cora. I decided that it would be a really cool learning experience if Tammy came along with me to help clear Cora out. I felt like it was a win-win situation. I could help kind of coach her through getting information. She could help me connect with Cora better. We could kind of coax her out of the bathrooms and pass her on. I invited her along. We set up a day and we headed to the restaurant at night. So we get to this restaurant and it's dark inside. Like, it's very, very dark. It's a huge restaurant. Like, it's bigger than your average TGI Fridays or whatever, and it's got a lot of like really big open areas in it. So when you walk in the door that we walked into, you walk through the kitchen and then you come out and you turn right, and there's a big open area, and then you turn right again and there's the hallway that has the office and the bathrooms. So we set up our supplies and everything outside of that kind of hallway on this big table that was there. I had brought sage, crystals, candles, like all the stuff. And we had also brought an offering for Cora. She had brought her candy and like this bouncy ball toy. And we were like, awesome, we're gonna give her this and then she'll wanna talk to us and blah, 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 blah. That is not what happened. We decided to do like a 5-minute meditation just to kind of get ourselves open, aware, you know, ready to pick up on subtle energies of the location. I was terrified because I had had such a long day that day. I was so tired. My sleep schedule was totally off, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to pick up on anything because I'm so exhausted. I was really, really hoping that Tammy was going to be able to help pick up on information and, you know, talk to Cora because they had that connection. We sat for 5 minutes. We just started to get open. We started to pick up on subtle impressions. She was picking up on some things with like maybe a dog attack or something, and we really didn't know how Cora had died. But I had suspected there was foul play involved. I just had this weird feeling that there was some sort of man or something involved with her death, and it's never really been confirmed how she died because it was such a long time ago. We started trying to pick up on stuff, and she literally did not come out of that bathroom. I was not picking up on anything. After about 10 or 15 minutes of us sitting there, I was not getting any information. And I have to let you know that is so weird when I'm going to a location to clear. Just like in my other video that I posted, usually when you encounter a spirit that wants help passing over, they are talking to you, they're talking your ear off. It's like a stream of consciousness. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to, you know, do anything. They just want to talk. She did not want to talk to me. She literally did not want, I could not pick up on anything. I was picking up more psychically than I was mediumistically, and I was like, there is something wrong. She's not coming out. Why isn't she coming out of here? Out of the bathrooms? Like, what's going on? So then we ended up leaving her the offering of candy and the bouncy ball, and I looked at Tammy and I was like, we need to move closer to the bathroom, because during that time we were sitting at the table kind of like outside of the hallway, and I was like, I don't think we're close enough. I think we need to like coax her out of the bathroom. And I could feel her in the space. I knew she was there. She wasn't coming out to talk, and it was incredibly frustrating as I'm also kind of reliving it. I'm just like, yeah, that really sucked, sitting there being like, oh my god, I am full of shit. I'm not picking up on anything. Was I making this all up the whole time? But it gets better. We sit down outside of the bathrooms on the floor in this creepy, dark, old, huge restaurant. There's creaks everywhere. There's cars going by, so all of a sudden there would be like a light inside, and it was just, we were both on edge a little bit. But we were sitting there. I was like, all right, let's get into another kind of meditative state. And I close my eyes and I'm just like, all right, I'm ready to talk to you, Cora. Like, whenever you want to come out, come on out. And I said that in my mind. Tammy's sitting there too. She's picking up on bits and pieces here and there. She was picking up on a dog. I think I already said that, but she picked up on the dog again, and then she picked up on some other things. I was not picking up on anything. Again, just gonna reiterate that and how weird that is for me to not be able to pick up on anything in this sort of a situation. I was like, all right, I'm full of shit. That's it. That's it. Like, so after another 10 minutes of sitting there on the floor, and we're just like, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to call it. Like, we're gonna have to go home and we're gonna have to come back another day. I'm just too tired. I'm too exhausted. I can't do this. So in my mind, I start pleading with my spirit guides. I'm like, spirit guides, please, like, please help me connect with Cora. Like, I've got to get her out of here. I can feel her here. Please help me clear out any blocks that I may have. Bring her super close to me. Like, help me communicate with her in any way possible. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, please, like, whatever you got to do, like, do it. I want to do this. Like, we got to get her out of here. 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to call it. I open my eyes, and all of a sudden I feel Cora and I see her in my mind's eye for the first time, full figure, by the way, because in the podcast walkthrough that we did, she was just sitting kind of in the bathroom, huddled up in the stall with her knees pulled to her chest and her head down, kind of like that, okay? So seeing her full figure for the first time, I realized how tiny she was. I mean, she was like 5 years old, I think, 4 years old, something like that. And it was just like kind of having that realization that like I am really dealing with this young child. And Cora comes out of the bathroom, the other bathroom, by the way, not the women's bathroom that she's always in every single time they experience her, she's in the freaking women's bathroom. No, she comes out of the men's bathroom on the other side. She stands in the doorway and she just comes out, and I can see her with her dark hair. She's short. She was so small. She was probably between 5 and 8 years old. I don't want to say 5 years old because I don't totally know, but definitely in that young, tiny child stage where you're just like, oh my god, you're adorable, but also full of mischief. She comes out of the bathroom. She's standing in the doorway, dark hair, in this like old kind of dress that was like bluish, and she was just like curling her hair. And the first thing she says to me is, I don't like you. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to her, and points to Tammy, and I was like, oh my god. So I'm hearing all of this clairaudiently. So I'm relaying what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing to Tammy. Then Tammy asked a question, and before I could even think about what she had asked, Cora responded, and I heard it. I heard it in my mind. So then I relayed it. And Tammy looks at me and goes, so if I ask a question, Cora will answer through you? Can we like do something with this? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. As this happened, I feel the strongest vibration I've ever felt in my entire life from a spirit. And she was right next to me. Like, I'm talking like when you sat on the toilet for too long and your legs go numb, or maybe I shouldn't say that. Freaking pins and needles all over the side of my body with the spirit next to me. And all of a sudden, she starts to kind of talk through me. I just want to clarify, this is not possession. Even though I may clickbait this title as possession, this is not possession. I was still fully in control. I was just in a deep trance state for this to kind of happen. She starts kind of talking through me, and Tammy told me later, because I didn't remember a whole lot of it, that my entire demeanor changed. And that was really kind of scary to hear afterwards, after I had come out of it, because I was like, what do you mean my entire demeanor changed? But at the same time, I could remember bits and pieces of like how I felt and how I sounded, and all of these kind of feelings that came with her. But anyway, so I get into this sort of trance state, and she's kind of using my voice to talk. So Tammy started asking questions, and I don't remember exactly the questions that she asked, but she started asking about how did she die, and was she sick when she died? And I would go, no. And she would go, well, did a man hurt you? And she told me that my voice like quivered, like when you ask a young child a question and they just kind of like shut down because they don't want to answer. She backed off, and then she was like, do you like doggies? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, do you like the doggy that comes to the restaurant sometimes? Because one of the owners has a dog that they would bring with them to go into the basement, because the basement's freaking creepy. But she was like, yeah. And then she was like, well, do you like this doggy? And it was like a bigger dog or something, and she was like, no. And so we kind of started to inch closer and closer to getting her to talk about how she died, though we never truly got it out of her. We do think that it was some sort of dog attack, or some sort of man like with a dog that had attacked her and then disposed of the body or something. So it was really, really, really traumatic for anyone, let alone a child, to experience. And she had been there for so long. We just started to kind of get onto more of a topic of trying to cross her over. So as I'm in this meditative state, Tammy would start asking questions like, all right, well, do you want to go see your mommy? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, all right, well, do you see a light? And then she was like, no. And then she was like, now I do. And I guess what happened was, like, I don't remember exactly, because I was in the trance state, but Tammy had said that she saw her mom come out of the light. And after that, I kind of like went up, and she just looked at me. She goes, oh my god, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, good, because you scared the shit out of me. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. That's the first time that's ever happened. So we freaked out for like 5 minutes. It was one of the craziest experiences, because spirit has never gotten that close to me before, but I still felt in control, and I still felt protected by my spirit guides, which is the only reason why I kind of allowed it to happen. When you're in that sort of state, you're still fully aware, but it's more like you're not totally conscious of everything that's happening. So when I came out of it, I didn't quite remember remember all of the questions that were asked and all of the answers that were given, but I was aware the whole time of what was going on and things like that. So even if I clickbait this, just know I'm good, everything's fine. We got her out of there. So then after that, we smudged the entire space. We threw the candy and the bouncy ball away, because once you offer something up to spirit, you discard it in the garbage or you give it to the land or whatever. It's like no longer yours, because there's like an energetic exchange that people say happens. We did that. We smudged the entire space. There was this lightness of this area that I could not even explain to you. It was so much lighter. The denseness that was present in the area before was completely gone. We finally felt like we were the only two there afterwards, and there were no peering eyes. It just felt different. A couple days later, I checked in and she was like, I feel so much better. I'm able to work in the office. Even though I have a barrier up right now energetically, I just feel so much better. I don't have a little face popping up. We haven't had any more toilet flushes randomly or whatever. I definitely would not have been able to do that without her there. The only reason I felt comfortable enough to kind of go into that trance state, let her use my mouth as her own kind of mouthpiece, was because Tammy was there and I knew that my spirit guides had protected me. So what the heck? Yeah, like I channeled a dead girl basically. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm working on an aura course that should be released by the end of June, and it's basically like a mini version of my big course that I've been working on. I'm just kind of doing it as a test run. I hope you guys will check it out. It should be pretty affordable, and you should get a lot out of it. It's going to be kind of a video course, so I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are too. Thanks for watching. Let me know down below if you've had any weird experiences with like ghost children or anything like that. I will see you guys in the next video. It's like I'm already bad at talking to children, and then you got ghost children, and then it's a lot.